Hey everyone, I'm coming in a little bit in the dark, and I wanted to show just how my studio is being set up because I've had lots of questions as we are reaching pandemic levels and people are working more at home, probably indefinitely at this point. People want to see how can I raise the bar and how can I really get to the next level of presentation. So today I have just a small kind of accent light sitting in the back. And so I'm going to start layering on different light sources so you can get a sense on what this looks like. So I'm going to turn on my Philips Hue. This is just an accent light that's sitting behind me. I got another accent light that's sitting, looks like that's the one that's behind me. That's where all the stuff is. Got another light in the back. And what I can do is I can shift the mood a little bit. So in this case, I want to go a little purple and kind of throw things up a little bit. I have a light that's sitting over here. Yeah, and I'll keep that one. And there's definitely a light that's sitting in the back in that little room. And sometimes I'll turn on and adjust some of the dimming so you can get a sense of what that looks like. So that's using my Philips Hue system. Let's turn on one more light I have in the back here. This one's controlled by an Alexa plug. And that's the roto light. Let's see if I can get out of the way. So what that light does is it acts as kind of the I don't know what it is. You tell me, leave a comment in below. And I got a light that's over here. This acts as my fill light. This is my main fill. And another key light over here that acts as the other accent. So this is my entire lighting setup. Filming right here is my Fuji X-T3. And let's get into sketch mode. I'm going to show you my overhead cam and share a little bit about my current setup. So I'm going to get my computer equipment out of the way. And we'll switch over to some pens and paper. And let's get a little bit bigger so you can see the full screen. And here we go. So you want to make a basically home office. That is acting like a podcast studio. Now, why would you want this? You know, I want a little space, and I think a lot of people will typically ask, how do I set this up? So typically what you want is you want your desk here, and we're going to do it from an overhead type of view, okay? And I'm going to put a camera here. And what you'll want is you'll want an actual camera with nice glass. So we want something that's better than a GoPro, better than a webcam. Reason being is we want that nice blurry background. And so let me go back to myself for a little bit and turn off this view. So with this one, you're going to get a little bit of blurring. If I switch to even a more a different lens, you'll get more of that blurring effect. I call it the Bill Gates effect. It just looks really, really nice. It looks cinematic, if you will. So let's get back here. You got your camera in this space right here. And you will want a mic. And so let's call it on your desk. You'll have a mixing board. And what a mixing board does is it allows you to bring in various sources of microphones. So in this mixing board, I'm going to recommend the Rodecaster Pro. And the reason I picked the Rodecaster Pro is it's built in with different audio processing, compressor, big bottom, all the stuff that I have no idea what it is, but it works very well. And the other thing you want to have over the space is just a switcher, and that's the Blackmagic ATEM Mini. There's various models, but for the most part, what this allows you to do is add in HDMI inputs. And so in this case, it's HDMI to my camera, okay? And switching back to audio really quick, on the audio side, we use, in the professional world, we use cables called XLR cables. And that XLR cable, let me set up, let's say, in this case, my mic is gonna sit here. And for most of you, I think if you're getting into this, I'm gonna recommend a really nice mic called the Shure SM7B. This is the one that all podcasters use. you're actually listening to the Electro Voice RE20. I have both. I prefer the Shure, but this right here is going to go by XLR. So let me just, there it is. So we'll have an XLR cable connected to this mic, and you can hook up to 4 different inputs. What's also important, and what I really like, especially for people that are content creators and or engaging, this has a output to a 3.5mm jack for your phone. So I'm using an Apple, so I'll need the lightning adapter, whatever phone adapter you need. You'll want to be able to bring in your phone, because I think today we're making phone calls. So it's kind of important to have that in your space. So we got lighting, we got the camera, we have audio. So let's call this a video. Over here, we figure out audio. Okay. And I got a couple of recommendations over here already for you guys. And I got the Shure SM7B with the Rodecaster. I think some people will recommend that you put in a cloud lifter. I have a cloud lifter for my Electro Voice. I don't have one yet for my Shure SM7B. What that does, it's a little device that sits in between the XLR lines, and it brings up the gain. So in the audio world, that's let's call it loudness, right? How loud the microphone is, how much you have to turn up the volume to be able to hear it. So that does that. This audio interface also connects to a switcher. And so when you're on your computer, and let's say you've opened up Zoom, and in Zoom, you'll have some settings for audio, and you'll have some settings for video. And in audio, what you'll select is the Rodecaster. In the video, you'll pick Blackmagic. Okay. And as long as you get those 2 settings right each time, this whole set of system works. Now, beyond this, just the basic cabling, think about all the different accessories you got to bring in, okay? You need a boom arm. So I am using the Rode PSA1, but there's different kinds. I think Blue Yeti makes one, and different ones are out there. You can get cheap ones, expensive ones. You really have a lot of different options. And so we got video, we have audio. This is on computer. Okay. And your computer, what I would recommend, here's your laptop. I would recommend you actually get a connection to a hub. And I'm using a CalDigit, but you can use whatever hub you want. And this allows you to plug in different HDMI sources, because you'll actually, or different USB sources. You'll need a USB one to go to your Blackmagic ATEM, and you'll need a USB to go to your Rodecaster. And you'll need a USB for 10 different other things that you can think of as you're setting up your space. Now, other considerations in this home office space. This is just the equipment side of it. Is I showed earlier, lighting. Let's see if I can draw this correctly. I got one of these light stands, but I have a little umbrella, and I'm using, I believe it's the Godox SL60. But there's just different lighting options you can think out there. And that lighting kind of really adds that. Once you figure out lighting on the audio side, what you also need to do is called sound treatment. And on the sound treatment side, you need to be thinking about egg crates, the little egg waffle stuff that you see on the walls, sound absorption panels, sound blankets. So if you go back to some of my earlier videos, this little workspace used to be just completely bare. Nothing was treated in sound. You didn't see kind of this stuff up here. I had bass traps all over the place. And so this room used to be really echoey. right? It kind of creates that hollow sound. And so if you want that really nice podcasting sound, you need a combination of everything. So let's take a look again in the drawing. You need good sound treatment. You need good lighting. You need good audio, good video, and a connection to your computer. This is really complicated. So let's play around a little bit. I want to kind of do order of operation, what's most important. And if it were me, if I were starting out just from scratch, the first thing I would get is audio, because I think it's better to sound good and look bad than to look good but sound bad. So start with audio. Consider getting the Rodecaster Pro and the Shure SM7B, couple XLR cables and a cloud lifter, and then you connect that to your computer via HDMI. And that's step one. Then I would consider doing a little bit of lighting. I'd probably do that second, I think, before you even upgrade to your camera, because you can always use your webcam. Start with that. Get a cheap webcam or use whatever webcam you have default. A basic SL60 will cost you about $150 or so. That will completely turn around your lighting game and really transform things. And the third one is I would focus on sound treatment, because I think this one's really boring, but people avoid it. Even a basic sound blanket, some of the cheap egg crates that I have on my ceiling, I just use double-sided tape. That's pretty cheap and easy. And then finally, the last and fourth one I would add on is video. And this is where the investment can get really expensive. You can just get a decent webcam for $150 to $200, or you can get into my space and get into a mirrorless camera, a cinema camera. This is where money gets really expensive. And when you get into the camera world, let's get down here. I think look into the Sony A series. I think 6400 to 6600 series. I'm using a Fuji XT3. Both of these are called APS-C. They are known as crop sensors. So the sensors are less than full frame, 35 millimeter. It's good enough. The glass is cheaper typically when you're in crop sensors. Again, you can get to full frame. You get some, I think the Canons and the Sonys, they'll have pretty decent full frame, but the glass gets really expensive. So what's really important is you want to be spending most of your money on the lens. This is where you're going to get that difference, right? So this is where you're going to get that really nice shallow depth. It's going to come in really sharp. It's going to look kind of cool, and throw in different kind of options in that space. So this is my general home studio setup. I hope you are enjoying it. I'm going to leave a link in the description to my Amazon affiliate store. You can get links to a lot of the things I'm using and start building your kit. Any questions, comments, leave them in the below. I'm happy to guide you along the way and answer any comments or questions you have. We'll see you in the next one.